Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson 6.1.2 on first species counterpoint. Counterpoint, I believe, is one of those things that is much better learned by doing, so I highly encourage you to actually go to the R2Z exercise and practice that and work through that before returning to the video to get the, book learning side of things. If you prefer to get all the rules up front and then go, I won't stop you, but my recommendation would be go explore, make some mistakes, get an intuitive sense for what works, and then come back here. So, bye for now, maybe? Great, you're back. So, hopefully you've played around with this some, and you have a general intuitive sense of like what works and what doesn't for this style of writing. So, I'm going to play you a couple of these so you can hear what they sound like. So that's an example in minor. Here's another one in minor. So the voice that was on the bottom, the cantus firmus, the given melody, is now going to be on the top. So. Here's an example in major with the given melody on the bottom. I played a wrong note. I'm sorry. One more time. So pretty clear where tonic is, and here's the last example, also in major, but now that melody is on the top. Wait, what is going on here? Something is funky here. The voices should not cross, so I'm going to take a look at that. Yeah, so this should actually be an octave higher. So let's see what that sounds like. There we go. That makes more sense. So, yeah, rules are likely very overwhelming at first. So, in terms of rhythm, as you can see, there are only whole notes. That's pretty straightforward. And you're only allowed to use harmonic consonances. So again, that would be firsts or unisons, fifths, and octaves are perfect. Thirds and sixths are imperfect. You're allowed to use all of these. Seconds, fourths, and sevenths, no. Because white European men in the 1600s to 1800s said, those intervals sound bad, so we're not going to use them. Again, there are other systems of counterpoint where you would be allowed to use them, but this is just the one that we're looking at for now. So at the beginning, your given melody should begin on tonic. And tonic must be in the lower voice. So if your cantus firmus is in the top voice, you are obliged to put scale degree 1 in the lower voice. If your cantus firmus is in the lower voice, you can put tonic on top, or you could also put a fifth, scale degree 5. Either of those is fine. So you want to choose an open interval that will allow your counterpoint to stay within a tenth. You want to stay within a tenth, give or take, without colliding or crossing. So if your cantus firmus moves away from your counterpoint, so if your cantus firmus is on the bottom and it goes away, then you'll probably want to choose a unison or a fifth so that it can go up and go away. If your cantus firmus moves up, you can't choose a unison because then it would go below, it would be a voice crossing, that would be bad. Could choose a fifth or an octave and go the other way. At the end, the given melody must end on tonic, and you must end on a unison or octave. So you must end on scale degree 1, and you must move by step to the final note. So if you look at the examples, they all do that. Sev 1, 2, 1. Sev 1, 2, 1. They all move by step. Beautiful. And you're not allowed to have parallel perfect consonants, is it ends in an octave, so the note before it also be an octave. So here the given melody goes 2, 1. Here, if you also want 2, 1, that would be octave to octave, that would be parallel octaves. No, bad, not allowed. Part independence, that's why. So this goes 2, 1, so this one has to go 7, 1. So that would be a sixth to an octave. Your other option would be here, where you go from a third to unison, or if it was separated by an octave, it would be a tenth to an octave. So those are your two options for the last interval, last two intervals. If you're in minor, like these first two examples are in D minor, make sure you have that raised scale degree 7. So we talked about the beginning and the end, which have the most rules. Middle is where you have a little bit more freedom to make choices. All the rules from the previous section still apply. So you don't want to have leaps in both parts. That's what these first three things are saying. So if the cantus steps, you can use a skip or a leap. If the cantus skips, you can use a step or a skip. If the cantus leaps, you must move by step in contrary motion, pretty much. It says should. It's not a hard and fast rule, but you don't really want leaps going on in both parts at the same time, because that's when it starts to get hard to sing. You want mostly contrary motion, not a lot of oblique, because you don't want one part just hanging out on a single note. That's boring. Try for a mix of perfect and imperfect consonances. More imperfect than perfect. Again, these are just general guidelines to think about. Voice exchanges sound great. So I'm trying to see if there are any examples here. Maybe not. But the idea with a voice exchange would be like this voice is going 1, 2, 3. The other voice could go 3, 2, 1, which would result in a sixth octave and a tenth. That's what it's saying here. You want to keep your voices within a tenth, don't overlap or cross them, and all notes must be diatonic, must belong to the scale, the key signature, except near the end in minor, as discussed. So, given a cantus firmus, what I would recommend is to create a chart so you can see your path through space. Oh, this is not good where it's on one page. So, okay, well, it has the given melody at the bottom here. So we know we need to start with a perfect consonant. So I've written all of the note name options here. So unison would be just the same, third, fifth, sixth, and octave. Great. So I know that I need to start with a perfect consonant. So I've grayed out these boxes because those are imperfect. So I can start on an A or a D. Then we're in the middle. All of those are fine. I've grayed out this box because E to B flat is not a perfect fifth. That's a diminished fifth. That's a tritone. We're not allowed to use that right now. So I grayed it out. Let's see here. The last note has to be a D. And it goes 2, 1 in the given melody. So we have to go 7, 1 here. So the last two notes are predetermined. So I've grayed out all the other boxes here. We don't want C, C sharp, D. We don't want to have that like chromatic thing going on. So I've grayed out this C. And these other notes are allowed. So I'm going to chart out a path through musical space. So let's say I start on D, an octave above, and I can go down to a C. Then I'm going to just keep track of parallel intervals I'll automatically see because it'll just be going across. So I couldn't go to A because that would be a parallel octave. So D down to C, back up to D. It's a fifth. I don't want to stay on D, that's boring. Maybe I pop back up to F. And then I go out to G, so I'm just trying to keep track. My voices are now a tenth apart. D, C, D, F, G. So I don't want to go any further apart, so I'm going to have to go back down to F. So that's a parallel third, technically a parallel tenth here. F, D, C sharp, D. So this is what that would sound like. I dig that. And I just kind of chose notes that were near each other, mostly moving by step. And I have a good variety of intervals here. I have like a set of parallel thirds, that's fine. I have some perfect consonances in the middle there. And yeah, all that looks good. So once you're done, before you check in Artusi, this is just a good checklist to go over. And Artusi should also mention these things if you submit an exercise that doesn't satisfy them. So I know this is a long lecture, but if you have a solid grasp of first species, the rest should be pretty straightforward because it's just all variations. So enjoy, and I'll see you next time.